I did a piece actually on arranged marriages. There's a lot of East Indian people out there right now that still get arranged marriages here in Canada. Surprise, surprise. So actually I'm supposed to be one of them. So we went to go check that out, and
I did my story on a gymnastics competition that has people competing from all around the world, and it's hosted by women, so we went to check it out.
What about you, Jared?
I went out on the street and asked some kids that they think school's preparing them for the life.
And are they?
Yeah.
Prepared?
Yeah.
I went to Concordia University to the animation festival, met up with some guys there. They showed us around and told us what they do.
What about you, Ed?
I went to Ottawa to check out this really wicked fiddler from Cape Breton whose last name is MacIssac.
We did a story on the strike that the students are holding against an increase in tuition fees, and we spoke to both sides of the camp, and they had some interesting things to say, so enjoy.
In religion, in general life, in the way of life we are living, even in different cultures, the old cultures becoming more in modified way, more popular.
That was my aunt's wedding. She had an arranged marriage, and it still seems to be the case for most East Indian kids, even today. It's what my parents want for me, even though I'm totally against it. We spoke to people, both inside and outside the Indian community, to see how they felt about this very controversial issue.
I just think it's really stupid. Why should someone choose who you want to be with for the rest of your life?
You don't know the person going into the relationship, so you don't know how it's going to work out with them. So when you choose your partner, you actually know more about them. So, it tends to work out more.
I don't know, you might end up loving them eventually, but it's not true love. It's more like an acquired taste.
Because you don't know the actual person you're marrying until you've actually married and lived with them for a while. Because they're arranged marriages, it's not very easy to break out of them. So a lot of the times you stay together because you have to stay together.
I personally wouldn't do it. If I meet somebody, it'll be because by chance or luck or because I love them. And so it's something that's very arguable.
My plan today, if you like someone and you just tell us, we will go and we will look, like how is he, and if we like it, then we don't have any problem.
Well, I'm not against it or for it either, but just as long as my parents show me the guy and I get to talk to him before, I have nothing wrong with it. After we get to know each other, we might fall in love and we might not. I guess it just depends on luck. If it works out, it works out, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Sansar saram bhujagendraharam sada vasantam hirde.
I think, and how you use what you take in, pretty much.
Yeah, you could do, let's say, maybe 4 to 8 month period where you do some job training. You can maybe volunteer. Things like that I think will help while you're still in school to prepare you for the real world.
I cannot understand the students because there is no decision about tuition fees at university and college. I hope I will not have to increase tuition fees. And now, I look for other ways to have money.
They've got a lot of money coming in anyways. I mean, through the casinos that have been coming in. I think it's roughly $2 million a day just in the Montreal casino.
And now I hope the students will go to school because, you know, if they want to have their diploma, they have to study.
As of late, students have been striking against an increase in tuition fees. Well, what's education all about? Will an increase in tuition fees mean a better education, or will it mean a decrease in students in empty classrooms like these? Well, we spoke to some students to get the inside scoop.
Maybe putting up, going up tuition fees to go to build up maybe a better education, but that's not what's going on. They're just cutting for their zero deficit. We pay more, but we get nothing more.
Tuition has gone up 250% since 1990, yet professors have lost their jobs and courses have diminished. Where's the money going?
Well, I think you better ask the government that question, but chances are it's not that the money is going somewhere else, it's just that the money isn't there to come to us. At least that's what we're told.
I think that large class size, however, for an undergraduate education is definitely a problem, and that's having an impact.
Yes, I think education it's diminishing because of the lack of funds. Universities and education systems in general don't have any choice, but they can't improve it. They can't make the needs of people.
Over the last 4 years, we've lost $40 million of university grants from the government. At the same time, we haven't been able to make it up from other sources.
We want to work with the government, maybe, to build something good. If they would only come and talk with us, have a conversation going, have an exchange of ideas, the problem would not go away, but we can find solutions.
Students are not lazy. Maybe it's not, we're not in a war, it's not a revolution, there's no Vietnam or something like that, but our future is in stake, and people are doing a lot about it.
We're going to say, listen, we're going to go to as many classes as possible, we're going to stay in our school for as long as possible because we value our education and we don't want its quality going down.
Every educated person, I believe, helps in the development of the society as a whole. And if you don't have people who are educated, they've got to be doing something.
It's desperately important for universities to diversify their sources of income because we can't foresee that the government will be able to provide us much more money in the next few years. Therefore, we need to reach out to the community. We reach out to our alumni, to corporations, and to our students for help.
In general, most people's experience with animation is pretty much limited to Walt Disney. But in reality, there's tons of wonderful and creative stuff out there. So tonight, we're going to check out a screening at Concordia of student-made productions.
When you're working for a year on a film, and especially if you're a student, it's a good occasion to have people seeing your film.
So welcome. Please try to go to the bathroom during the reel change.
What's the caliber of the films that are going to be here tonight?
They have like a range from like good experimental film, although some people doesn't like experimental, but they're good. They're so good film.
Yeah.
Now you have to sting your nose. We're just starting a student's film, so very often it's not something that you're going to show on TV. Can you tell me a bit what's involved in making a film like this?
Well, it starts off with a very good, believable story. From the story, you have to have believable characters that the audience can relate to and buy.
There seems to be a symphony of pleasure sounds. Can you guys hear it? They seem awfully close. I think it's coming from that house over there.
So can you show me how you actually manipulate a character when you're getting it to move?
If we want to move it, we move it a little bit. We take a frame, and then we move it back. For 1 second of film, it takes 24 frames. So if you want the character to stroll, it could take up to 2-3 hours just to make him walk about not even a foot.
And how long did it take to film and
Well, once we started with the puppets, it took about 2 months to film.
I didn't know how much work was involved in this, and now I'm happy to see this. It's very interesting.
That's like the good point of Concordia, is that you learn many techniques. You will learn like scratch on film, 3D puppet, 3D claymation, 2D drawings, paint on glass, all those like different techniques.
I thought of this guy stuck in a room with this huge piano. You hear music on the background, and suddenly he decides to touch the piano. And when he touches the piano, what happens is the opposite of the sound. So you have like silence for the piano. It gets to a point that it's too loud. The silence is too loud, so it makes everything shake.
Scene one, take one.
So basically, where can you go with these skills that you learn?
You can work in studios. If you're rich enough, you can go on your own and produce your own film. But that's very rare. Or you go in studios in like commercial animation, where you get paid a good paycheck and a fun job.
So when you're doing this, for you, is it like fun, or is it...
Yeah, it is. I used to get in trouble when I used to do it. My mom said I was spending too much time on my work. Now I actually get marks for it.
It's very gratifying to see your own product or your own creation on a screen, although it's only like 2 minutes long.
Farmer Bob! Farmer Bob's little flag. I wonder what's his problem. Hey, Farmer Bob.
You do this every day in the gym, and you work, 36 hours a week, so you can do this.
I was really nervous, because it's the first time I competed this year. After you do a good event, then it makes you feel better about the next event. Makes you more confident.
We're here at John Abbott at the Wim Gym Invitational Gymnastics Competition to find out more about gymnastics and the world of competitive sports.
There's 20 minutes left in the general warm-up.
First want to get involved with gymnastics?
My mom put me in when I was like 3 or whatever at the Y, just to get me out of the house and be with other kids and stuff.
How long have you been competing in gymnastics?
7 years, maybe 8 years.
What's that like, putting like your whole life into gymnastics?
I don't know. That's all I've known. I only go to school in the morning, and then I go to gym in the afternoon. So I'm in a special program at school that helps, but I still have to do 2 classes at home.
Do you find that you've become friendly with the girls at the gym? That's like the way you sort of socialize?
Yeah, we're like really close friends because we're together all the time.
What's your relationship like with your coaches? It must be very intense because you spend so much time with them.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, we're a really close relationship because we work with them all the time. And they help you not just in gymnastics, but in life too.
So what do your parents think about all this? They must be very supportive of you?
Yeah, they are really supportive. They missed like 1 week in my life.
Sarah Egan.
So how long did you compete for?
I didn't compete for long. I competed from the age of about 8 to the age of about 12.
Why did you stop?
I didn't like the balance beam.
When you're on the beam all by yourself and you have to go out there and do your routine, how do you sort of collect your thoughts?
Think of one move at a time, what you have to do for that move, and then when you finish that move, think about the next, forget about the first one. If you fall, forget about that, and just keep going and think about what's next.
You can have one injury and your career is over. How do you deal with something like that?
I know how to do things properly. I have good coaches, and they teach us good technique and stuff, so we don't usually get injured too often.
You sit there with your fingers crossed and just praying, and then just thinking, you know, you do this every day in the gym, and you work, 36 hours a week. You can do this, and you just sit there hoping that they stay focused. What are your dreams for the future? Where do you want to see yourself in, 5, 6 years?
Well, in 4 years, I want to make the Olympic team, go to the Olympics. After that, I want to get a scholarship to the States.
And now, in first place, and our gold medalist from Gemini, Sarah Egan. The first time that a gymnast wins 4 gold medals in the finals. Congratulations, Sarah.
As you know, Ashton MacIssac is fiddling to new heights, but you probably didn't know about his 18-year-old sister, Lisa, a young and talented fiddler too. Well, we talked to her earlier today, and we're about to check her out performing here in Ottawa.
My dad's a fiddler. Ashley, of course, he's an influence, I guess, to a lot of people now. I've just been following in the family footsteps, I guess.
What do you feel about the comparison factor to your brother?
I don't know. People used to compare us a lot. Now they're kind of seeing how I play. I play different from Ashley. Right now I'm just straight traditional. He's into the rock and traditional. So yeah, we're different, but we're alike in the same way.
I heard you're a great step dancer as well as a great fiddler. So would you be able to show us some of your talent?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah. It's part of the Cape Breton culture. You'll see it everywhere you go. There's always a step dancer in the crowd when you go to a Cape Breton dance or party.
Do you feel that you get a younger crowd listening to your music as well?
Well, last night I played at a bar, and I walked in, and there was 90% of them were in their 20s, 30s. I was like, wow. I was thinking, I hope they don't expect it to be rock and roll. When I play, it's usually just me and a piano player, or possibly a guitar player. Not much of a talker on stage, but that's something I should learn to do too. It'll help my stage presence if I can talk to the audience and get them into it.
How were you introduced to Lisa, and how you started playing together?
Well, our school, there's about 350 students. Well, when I graduated, there was, from primary to 12. So everybody knows everybody. And when I started playing around, she was playing in concerts as well, and we just kind of hooked up.
You're promoting Lisa MacIssac on this tour. What do you feel her appeal is?
Well, her appeal is her personality and her sharpness and her talent. That wasn't too hard to sell. She has everything it takes to promote.
How do you feel about all this media exposure?
I never expected this to happen. Like this little mini tour I'm doing up here.
7, 6, 5.
I've gotten a lot of media coverage.
Take one, we are live at Ye Old Orchard Pub in Indy.
And I never expected any of this. I just expected to come and play and go home, but it's getting to be bigger than I expected.
A great entertainer. She's very good, and she should go far. She deserves it.
If I can turn my fiddling into a career, to a long-term career, I'd love to. I'd love to live at hotels and eat fast food all the time and play in bars. But if, I could also, I was thinking about getting into pharmacy at the university in Halifax and possibly balance that on weekends or nights, play the fiddle.
She'll definitely be known nationally. As far as breaking into the States, I don't know if that type of music goes down there, but it's very popular here in Ottawa.
I feel that probably in the next 4 or 5 years you're going to see her on the top of the Celtic charts.
Who Who's better out of you and Ashley?
Well, naturally, I'm going to say Ashley. Ashley's been playing for... He's got years on me, too. I've got years to catch up.
That's it for the show. We'll see you again next week. If you have any story ideas for the show, get in touch with us. You can fax us, you can phone us, you can write us, and you can even reach us on the internet.